wasn't because she wouldn't sign a prenup. It's because of infidelity.
He has a choice of her.
And maybe at the time, like he was sneaking around.
Two Koconut hits here. I'm your boy, Just Joe Thoughts, and this is the lovely, the beautiful wifey. What's the name?
Nikki Wesley.
Yes, that is.
Nikki says YOLO.
There you go. Yes. I want to talk about something that is very, very interesting. And the story that is very popular right now is the Dak Prescott story. And the initial rumors about the story is that, he was supposed to get married to his fiance.
Yep.
What's her name again?
Sarah Jane Ramos.
Yeah. And people were saying that they broke up because she would not sign a prenup. Now we know that is not the reason, but we would like to touch on that particular aspect because that was the rumor that kind of made it go viral. So what do you think about, marriages and prenups?
Well, first of all, yeah. So I think the headlines led with the prenup because it was juicy, hot and spicy, and it's like a bait, grabber, attention getter. But then when I dived into it further, it wasn't because she wouldn't sign a prenup. It's because of infidelity issues as to why she didn't want to move forward with the wedding. Well, so apparently she felt like the wedding would have changed his ways. That's what the sources said. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I know for sure is you cannot change somebody. They're going to want to have to change on their own. So Absolutely. For her to think that a marriage or kids would change a man, that's not how it works.
And I think that's a huge mistake that many people in relationships make is that they get with somebody, they see all the red flags, and they're trying to change that person for some odd reason. If you see the red flag, just get the hell up out of there, right? It's not worth it. And now you bring children into this relationship when you already noticed all of the red flags. So that's kind of crazy. And a lot of people make this mistake. But I do want to ask you, should couples be getting prenups?
I think they should. I don't see anything wrong with that whatsoever. Like whatever y'all made or earned before the relationship, I feel belongs to that person. And then once y'all get together, whatever y'all build together belongs to within the marriage. So yes. I think a prenup is pretty much fine. And I think a prenup will weed out the gold diggers.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. I do think that a prenup is essential, and it doesn't matter if you're wealthy or not, right? Because some people are bringing a whole lot of debt into their situation, right? And you don't want to necessarily be responsible for somebody else's debt, mm-hmm. right? Now the debt that you accumulate together, that's one thing, but the debt that they had before you don't want to be responsible for that. So there's so many reasons to get a prenup, and that's definitely one of them. Now, what do you think about the real story, right? The whole infidelity and her finally deciding that, she's just going to end it.
Well, yeah. So again, I think they met in 2023. Well, they went public in 2023, and then they had their first kid in 2024. They have 2 kids together, and they weren't married as of yet. So I felt like maybe deep down inside, she thought he would have changed, or maybe he told her some stuff in her ears to make mm-hmm. her think he was going to change. And then she realized, you know what? He's not going to change, and I can't get married to him. So it's kind of tricky because for her to continue the relationship, I think there was some level of love that was there. I don't think she was there for his money or for the publicity or because he's a football player. But I do genuinely think that she was there pure-heartedly, but then he just kept doing the same bullshit over and over again. She says, you know what, I'm out. F this.
Well, I think the first mistake is, having children out of wedlock. Right, that is the first mistake, especially if you're the gentleman, you got all of this wealth. Now you pretty much is stuck for life, right? For at least 18 years, right, of paying child support, and that is something about our culture where marriage isn't necessarily that important anymore.
Well, there's a lot of fornication going on. People are fornicating before they get married, and they're having kids after they get married, and people are fornicating and they're having kids before they get married. So they should just not have sex until they get married in that case.
But yeah, or definitely plan about it, think about it, have conversations.
Well, you
about
said
it.
Wedlock.
Yeah, before, because
stuff happens.
Stuff do happen. Yes, there's a lot of unmarried people out there with children. And basically, you're inviting a child into an unstable environment, unstable home. And just because somebody is married, let me make this clear, it doesn't necessarily mean that
I was going to say that.
But the intention of wanting something to be secured, wanting something to be real, at least it shows that, okay,
there's commitment by both parties.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that commitment needs to be real because, children didn't ask to come here. Right? And you don't want to necessarily bring a child into a situation that they did not ask for. It's like there's too many irresponsible adults sleeping around and having children and not necessarily thinking about the future. I just think that this is something about our culture, our society, that is not necessarily benefiting or helping society at all. You know, I mean,
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but you said our culture, our society, meaning within the Black community.
meaning American community, because it's not just a black
It's,
thing.
it's everybody.
It's
but,
everybody.
But when you say our culture, our society,
Well,
I was trying to understand.
I mean American culture.
American culture.
That's what I mean. American culture, because this is something that is very that is the norms in America. You go many places across the world, that is not normal for people to be having children out of wedlock. You know.
Well, okay, so you keep saying the word wedlock. So there are relationships where they do have a kid or two out of wedlock, and both parents are still together, and they're still a strong family unit. And you also have families where they got married, they had children, but it's just not a strong family unit. And then you have those where they had the child before they got married afterwards, and they're still together. You got somewhere they got married before they had kids, and now they're not together no more. Well, you know what I'm saying? So
granted, I mean, look, there's no one size fits all, right? There's no one way, but the whole purpose here is to make sure that there's serious commitment, to make sure that, you know, you're not just fooling around, you know, because a lot of these children that are out there are oops babies, right? So, and yes, it happens, right? If you don't want an oops baby, you know, you want to make sure that you do what is necessary so you don't have an oops baby if you're sleeping around. But I do think that being intentional with that, you know, if you want to have children, like, you have to be intentional about it.
Well, you and your partner have to be intentional about it. It can't be just one person. So
yes, but serious commitment is necessary, is essential.
No, it's definitely necessary. Yeah. So they have a 2-year-old daughter together. So I think in her mind, and in other women like her, she probably felt as if, you know what, we have a 2-year-old together. And maybe at the time, like, he was sneaking around, but she couldn't really put 2 and 2 together. And then she found out probably after the kid was born. And then she was like, yo, like, that's when everything came to surface. And she was like, what, WTF? So he probably said some stuff to her about, I'm going to change, or I love you, baby, I'm sorry, whatever. I don't know what he said to her. I'm just making, those are just examples. So what I'm saying is, like, there's certain men, they don't want to lose the woman, and they'll say certain things to her for her to stay. And she'll say, you know what? Yes, I'll still, we have a kid together, and I'm gonna give it a chance. But then don't change his ways.
But here's the thing though. He's not your average man. He's definitely
the top 3%?
He's a top, you know, because one, he is extremely wealthy. He's an NFL superstar quarterback, right? I mean, like, he has.
But he can still have discipline.
He can.
Right, it's up to him.
It is definitely up to him.
It's a choice.
He definitely have a choice. But guess what other choice he has? He has a choice of her.
But ultimately, it boils down to him and saying no to her.
Hold on a
it's
sec.
Discipline and saying no. I got a woman.
Hold on a sec. I say this simply for the ladies to know. Some men, you have to know that man, get to know that man, because, you know, most of these guys are not your LeBron James or your Denzel Washington, you know, or your famous, rich, and faithful men. Majority of rich men, a lot of them, and you know this, right? A lot of these very, very rich men, they got so many women out there, and they're pretty much testing their options, right? They are weighing their options in the dating market. So if you want to make sure you capture one of those guys, like, you know, be exceptional. Otherwise, you know what game you're playing.
If you want to be in the streets, be in the streets. But don't manipulate and lie to a woman that wants to settle down and start a family and get married. Like, don't do that. Just, if you want to be in the streets, be in the streets. So basically, you're saying, a warning to the woman, that the guy is in the top 3%.
Yeah.
Know what's up is what you're trying to say, basically.
Know what's up.
Okay.
Expect other women to be chasing him, because you're going to have to be competing with other women.
All right. Well, 2 coconut heads. What are y'all thoughts?
Peace.